Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing very well. This is 3:26 a.m. at 9:23. This is Travis Witherspoon with Carter Cow Trading. Hopefully, everybody's doing very well this morning. We're going to end up taking a look at and give an update on gold. We actually end up taking a trade on the 22nd, where we end up trading at 1904. Currently, the market right now is at 1879, and I think that there's a lot of room to the downside that you could look at for its overall trading opportunity. So, I'm going to end up taking a look at this from a weekly to a daily to a 2 hour perspective. We're going to talk about how we end up getting into the trade and what we're expecting as the market is actually moving down. So here we go. You take a look at the weekly. What we end up seeing was we actually end up having a huge rise up to the upside from that movement. We actually see that the market ended up having this golden cross that we're looking at. And currently right now, we're looking for spots to where the market was going to end up moving to the downside. The market ended up having a high of right around 2072. And since then, if we look at this overall trend lines and just try to get an idea about what's happening with that, we end up having this break of this move right here on the weekly. So with us having this break on the weekly, we know going into next week, as long as this market holds, then that means that we're going to end up being bearish for a while. So currently, I would agree that the market is bearish when it comes down to that movement for the weekly. Now, if we move to the daily and be able to take a look at that move and kind of see where we're at, we see that this market end up hitting this overall high. We have this overall low, so we're going A to B to C to D, and trying to figure out where's the market going to end up moving from a long-term perspective on the daily as the market starts to retrace. So we went to this overall high, which was right here, take it to the overall low. From this overall spot, we end up seeing that the D extension is at 1735, and we can see that overall this market has retraced. Just zoom in just a little bit. There we go. We see that this market has retraced to the 618 or the golden ratio portion of this overall trade. So this is what we're looking at. We have a counter trend line break right here. We had confirmation with the overall down trend line break. We see that this market was in consolidation for a little bit, and it actually showed a triangle on a 2 hour. From that movement, we actually end up having a break to the downside. Now, typically, I don't take trades based off of the daily. I typically take trades based off of the 2 hour, based off of 2 hour confirmations and breakouts and retests. So that was our break for this overall move. But we do know if we look at this move and start looking at it from a down perspective and trying to see where's the market going to end up going, let's talk about it from this ABCD pattern. We have an A to B. Our C was this high right here. We're expecting that the market is going to go down to 1735 for this position. Now, if we look at it from a volume profile perspective, we can see that this market has dropped. And quite frankly, there's very light volume when it comes down to people looking to be able to sell, looking to be able to buy at this position. So that gives us a very good trading opportunity to be able to know that we can stay in the trade that we end up getting into right around the 1900 area and be able to ride it all the way out until what its point of control is right around that 1720 area. So let's take what we have and be able to use that and apply that to what we have on our 2 hour chart. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. We're going to end up syncing this to our chart so we can be able to see that move and be able to go from there on the 2 hour. Sorry about that. That is economic news. On this 2 hour, what we end up seeing was that we end up having this triangle that end up happening. I'm just going to create one real quick. We had this movement, take out the magnet, to the downside. We had this movement to the upside at these lows. Once this market ended up breaking this overall low, then after that we got in based off of this 2 hour move. So we looked at the last swing that ended up happening. That movement was right around 1957 for us to move, and then after that we started looking at the breaks to the downside. So you give me one quick second. We start taking a look at the currency strength meter. We can see that overall that if you look at the Japanese yen is starting to gain a little bit of control over the US dollar. Now, both of them are strong, but typically if the Japanese yen is doing very well, then gold is typically going to start doing very well for that movement as well. So now we have a movement to the downside that we expect that could be moving to 1835 based off of this overall movement to the downside, with the A being at 1959, and then after that, the B being at a lower level of 1882. So let's go to 1959 and then 1852, and we can take a look at that area as well. 1959, was right here. We go to the high of that move and get ready to magnet that all the way down to this B low. We can see that currently the 2 hours actually responding as well. We took the trade based off of this counter trend line break right here. Based off of that counter trend line break, we ended up placing our stop above the overall point of control. Stop in this case was at 1939. The extension was expected to be at 1834 for its overall movement. Now, I believe that 1834 is going to end up getting hit and completing with overall ease. If we look at it, we're basically at the B low right now at this particular point. So now we're at an R3 trade, which means that as long as this market keeps on moving below this area, we're going to end up seeing a lot of one-sided trading. So the question is, how can you be able to get into this trade? What I would look for is that I would try to see if we can get a 2-hour low or a 15-minute low, allow the market to be able to push up just ever so slightly on this overall move to the upside if there is a upside move. If you look at it on the 15-minute, we have a move like that right now. I'll wait for the market to be able to get into the 2-hour high. Once we end up getting a counter trend line break to the downside, then after that, I will look at being able to trade the market once you have a full confirmation of a candlestick to the downside and the market being in the sell zone. If you like all of this information, the way that we end up breaking down this overall chart, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to what we end up doing on all of our platforms, including TradingView. Please make sure that you share this video to somebody that you think will end up being interested. And I would love to hear your comments about what you think, where you think the market is going to end up going from there. Like always, if you believe in yourself, change will happen. And like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Take it easy.